Hello, this is Lala. You can like the video, you can subscribe to my channel, and the timestamps for this video as well as the link to my Twitter is down below on the description box. Anyways, today I'm going to be ranking the jury portions of Big Brother Canada. And by jury portions, I mean the periods that's after the jury but before the end game, and I consider the end game to be from Final 6 onwards. So it's essentially the early jury portion. Because some seasons on Big Brother Canada start at the final 8 and others start at like the final 12, certain periods in this area of the season or a specific season could be a lot shorter or a lot longer, just based on the amounts that rounds there are in the early jury. So that is going to be taken into consideration. Anyways, this is my second last category of the series that I'm going to do before I do a very large season ranking, which will encompass all of the categories that I've discussed, but just rank all the official seasons based on the combination of how they do regarding all the categories. Anyways, let's just get right to it. At dead last in this category is unshockingly Big Brother Canada 7. This was a very easy spot for last. We start the jury phase with Corey winning HOH, and she's wondering about who attempted to backdoor her last week. The entire house, pretty much sans Adam and Kira, set up Samantha, and while we did get Adam spiraling, especially against the Alliance for a bit, it was essentially all his own doing, as there's not a whole lot of drama from what I could remember, and the bit that was there ultimately didn't matter much. The next week involved Mark winning HOH, and I believe he was attempting to target Damien or Estefania, but I don't really care to figure it out at this point. Adam won his secret power and was able to get Corey on the block, despite Anthony convincing Mark not to put her up, and she easily went home. The final week of this portion of the season involved Adam winning HOH and boringly sending Estefania home, with no intrigue of anything taking place. Just like the pre-jury, there was nothing happening at this point, and the little squabbles between the pretty boys meant nothing, since the same boring dynamic would stay the same no matter what. At ninth is Big Brother Canada 1. A part of me really was considering to put the season as dead last in this category, and it's sad coming to the realization over the last year that this season has not held up well over the last decade, especially compared to its successors. We have Topaz winning HOH, as she would have been one of the people who could have made a move to make the season more interesting, but she was told it was an instant eviction, and everyone was able to hear her thoughts. So her pawn AJ ends up going home over her target Andrew, since Alec and Peter saw no use in her when they should have. Andrew then wins HOH and of course nominates Topaz again, with Gary being the true target, which neither one of them really knew about. Topaz and Gary did cause some drama in the week, but it was kind of saddening as well. And Gary, of course, ends up going home. Jillian wins HOH and makes a promise to Topaz so she could be given HOH, only for Jillian to break every single condition that was made in the deal by not only nominating Alec next to Peter, but then nominating Topaz as a replacement, despite Jillian promising to not do either. Despite this, there was really no drama or intrigue happening during that week, and this portion of the season just felt very static, despite a few solidly decent moments. At 8th, I have Big Brother Canada 11. Honestly, this is very effing hard trying to figure out this list, since most of the rest of the seasons up to this point have good points during each of their early jury portions. Due to all the DQs, the jury starts really early this season, with Santina winning the invisible HOH only for the entire house to figure it out, and everyone spazzing out, with Renee's meltdown and most of the house yelling at Santina, who didn't take it out without a fight either, as she defended herself as well. Though this would be the start of Ty steamrolling, since Daniel ended up using the veto on him when he could have went home this week had Daniel not done that. We then have the next week where Ty wins HOH and Hope decides to nominate himself as a pawn for some reason, which started the downfall of the Crown Alliance, as he used the pawn against Renee. Shania wins the veto, takes Renee off, which causes damn near the entire house to freak out, since Jonathan was nominated and sent home that week. Ultimately, things fall off a cliff once Kuzi's HOH turns into a chain of safety, causing Santina to go home. Claudia wins the next HOH, nominates a showman who ends up winning the veto, and Hope goes home. Kuzi feels like alone in her alliance, and there's some infighting between herself, Daniel, and Anika, with Kuzi being unceremoniously sent home on Renee's HOH. There were some good moments in the early drawing portion, but it's just weaker than many of the others, and the steamroll is just a bit too much. So at 7th is Big Brother Canada 2, and a large part of me really wants to move this to 8th in this regard when it's all said and done. One of the main reasons why this story portion is so low on the list is that it is extremely short, which is a result of the pre-jury being way too long, meaning that there's only 2 rounds in this period. The first round involves John winning HOH and a sit on splitting up the goblins, but Netta is able to get into his head with some great manipulation in order to get him to take it early. Allison ends up using her secret veto, where John is forced to nominate an ally, and the goblins plus Allison have the power to flip the vote to boot Adele, but John and Netta are too convincing of the goblins. And then the only other round of this portion of the season is the instant eviction, where Netta easily and unceremoniously sends Allison home. Essentially, this period of the season only takes place in a week, which is why it's so lackluster in general. Ending the first half at 6th place is Big Brother Canada 10. Wow, this is really hard, and I'm not sure if I feel very confident in placing this season at 6th in this category. We have the start of jury, where Marty initially nominates Betty and Josh due to the chaotic events of the double, but that speaks more towards the pre-jury than the jury portion. Herman is sent home at the end of the week in a pretty unceremonious manner, and the following week is also pretty boring, hence it being in the middle of this ranking. Gino wins HOH, and he wants to backdoor Marty, which is a great move for his game. But Kevin and Helena stop it. Jacelyn does not use the power that would have benefited herself and Gino, and it leads to Moose easily and boringly going home over summer. Ultimately, this portion of the season is bumped up by the final week, where we have Marty winning HOH, and he's insistent on getting Josh out, but is forced to nominate one of his allies due to Betty taking herself off the block. And after Gino is given the opportunity to back out of the gummy bear once someone in the alliance has to go up as replacement nominee, he ends up volunteering to be a part of it, which causes him to not only just be nominated, but he is also sent home here. And then we have the amazing triple, where Josh turns on both Summer and Betty, and Summer definitely reads into him before she leaves. So it's a pretty boring first 2 weeks, but it gets pretty interesting during the last week, hence it being here. So barely making it past the halfway point in this category is Big Brother Canada 4. I'm so all over the place with this portion of Big Brother Canada 4, hence it being in the middle of the rankings. The first round/week of this portion of the season is easily the most controversial, as Kelsey returns to the house via a house vote over Levita, completely ruining the changing dynamics that was set up last week, causing for things to revert back to how they were in the first month of the season. Kelsey was able to watch muted live feeds and use this to blow up Mitch's game, but getting Raul to send him home when it wasn't in Raul's best interest, and while Mitch offered some entertaining moments throughout this week, specifically, the inorganic twist and the reverted dynamic really pisses me off. The next week is also pretty boring, as Maddie ends up sending Raul home after he helps Jared win the veto, knowing that he would be the biggest option for a replacement nominee. The week after that really sucked, as the brothers were given HOH due to a stupid twist, nominates Maddie and Ramsey, which was frustrating to watch at the time. The former ends up quitting due to a family emergency, and the entire house trashing Maddie until she left that week wasn't comfortable to watch. The final round of this portion did get interesting, with Cassandra's father winning HOH for her, and then having to turn on Jared, someone who she knows in real life, which caused for some great drama, and definitely brought some intrigue that was missing over the last few weeks. At 4th is Big Brother Canada 5. This is getting really hard, and I might switch it with the season that I have at number 3, or at least at the time I'm recording/typing this. Of course, it starts off brilliantly with a double eviction that happened with Netta's immunity running out, and it seeming like Cindy would make the easy move to boot Dylan. Nope! Ika asks simply to send Netta home, and Cindy is being spoken to about this by many people to not do the move, and she is so stuck on the move, despite her having ample opportunity to change it. And this ends up with Netta and Ika finally coming to blows, and Netta is sent home like 20 minutes after her immunity ran out. The reason why this portion of the season is not higher on the list is because The next 2 weeks are very slow, if I were to be honest. Dylan winning and taking out Cindy, while good for his game, did nothing of interest regarding anything that actually happened, especially with Cindy whining about the predicament that she herself put herself into. And the next week had Dimitri taking the shot at Kevin and Bruno, with William saving Kevin with a secret veto, which would cause Kevin's run to the end of the season to take place. And while Karen lashing out at Kevin was kind of funny, this week was one of the more frustrating ones as well. What caused this portion to be higher is the week of the triple eviction, where we have Kevin nominating Ika and Dimitri, only for the Shermans to be able to finagle their way into staying over at Jackie, who really showed her butt this week, and then Dre's downfall over the last 24 hours of her game, with her trying and failing to flip, was a great sight to behold, and was definitely one of the better triple evictions in BBCAN history. The bronze prize of third goes to Big Brother Canada 9. I might end up switching the season with BBCAN 5 regarding where I place it in this category, though I'm still pretty unsure about it. We start this portion of the season with Beth winning HOH, and despite Jetson and Tashawn trying to control Beth's HOH, she made the right move in getting Victoria out, which is a much needed karma, but seeing Victoria and Tara go at it was fun, and it made for a good week, as Tara started to wake up finally. The double then happened, with Rohan going home here, really adding nothing to the season, and it's just in general very not notable, and one of the weaker double evictions from my recollection. The following week is where we have the flip-floppiness of Jetson and Beth, even Tashawn to a certain extent, appear here, as they plan to send home Kiefer, nominate him on the block, post veto, and then change their mind about keeping him after they already nominated him, only to boot Tina, who really did not offer much at all in the season. During the short portion that is this part of the season in BBCAN 9, it offered a lot more than many other seasons regarding its endgame jury phase, and I feel like this season handled the shorter early jury portion a lot better than BBCAN 2 did, hence their differing placements on this category. The silver prize of second place goes to Big Brother Canada 6. A part of me really wanted to put the season at first place with this category, since there's so much greatness that is within it, and that says a lot, since this portion is really only 2 days long. Ultimately, we have Derek winning HOH and targeting Johnny due to the latter targeting him and Kayla for a while now. Johnny and Ryan remain on the block, and Johnny pulls off a masterclass that causes everyone, even the people targeting him, to not only want to keep him during that week, but they do end up keeping him. The issue is, they edited this really poorly, gave Alejandra the credit, and it takes the week down a notch, especially on a rewatch. Ultimately, one of the best weeks in Big Brother history happens here, as Johnny wins HOH and of course nominates the Shermans. They pretty much pull off the same thing Jamaica did at this point in the past season, or in the last season, with Derek winning the veto, then convincing the trio to boot Alejandra. The fact that everyone was literally fighting for damn near 24 hours straight, and even during the live vote, the trio were very indecisive, and then Ali definitely leaving on a blaze of glory, was just really great to watch. It was a very fun period of Big Brother overall, and this season does the shorter early jury portion a lot better, hence it being higher than the other seasons. The triple also kind of happens here, but the most notable messy iconic stuff of that period, or of that week, happens during the final 8 round and not in the final 7/6, where the triple really happens. But the edit is mainly the reason why I can't put it at first, especially in this regard. And the gold prize of first place goes to Big Brother Canada 3. I never in my wildest dreams or imagination thought that Big Brother Canada 3 would be high on any tier list I have, since I pretty much have talked poorly about it on my channel for years, especially it being first on a specific list. This is really surprising to me, but you better expect this to probably be the only time that the season is this high on a list. Anyways, we have one of the most infamous weeks ever in Big Brother Canada history, with Zach winning HOH and Jordan asking to be put up because he celebrated too much. Cindy returns to the game after the nominations, and Zach backs out of backdooring Bruno due to it, leaving Jordan on the block. Ultimately, half the house completely flips by booting Zach's closest ally on his own HOH, and Godfrey's reaction and coming back to life was just really funny and iconic. The following week was pretty boring, I will admit, for sure, as Cindy getting sent right back out didn't really add much to the season. The following week is a very good week, but it was mainly due to the triple eviction. And while Bobby's veto lie could be a contender or considered a key, seeing the diaper alliance run things was really getting tiring at this point in the season. What put this season this high is easily the triple eviction, and what makes it even better is that before it happens in the final six, it is solely tied to this portion of the season, as the final 10, final 9, and the final 8 triple eviction happens in this portion, and it doesn't overlap like a lot of the other triple evictions. So Brittany pulls off a clutch HOH win and nominates all of the Diaper Alliance, but Ashley. Bruno wins the veto and shockingly saves Zach to be a shield, and people always talk about doing this but never does it, and the two really weren't allies at this point in the season. Instead of doing the sensical move of nominating Ashley, the other Diaper Alliance member that isn't nominated and is eligible to be nominated, Brittany nominates Willow, and Sarah choosing to save Pilar instead of Willow. She didn't think the votes were there to save Willow after her huge blow up with Bruno, which is great. It's just so chaotically good. The aftermath of the triple definitely carried into the final seven, and while there was some drama with Bruno, I really did not like the coup d'etat, and it almost caused me to put it at second. In general, there's just so many iconic moments during this portion of the season, and it's easily the best that BBCAN 3 has to offer. And that concludes my ranking for the joy portions of Big Brother Canada. I believe I made a video on this category for this country a few years ago, and you can check it out above. And I'm sure there are a lot of differences, as I haven't watched that video while making this video, and there's been a few seasons, so ultimately there's going to be a change. I'm really glad that I am almost done the series of ranking Big Brother Canada seasons based on all these categories, where I only have one category left, which is the Endgamers, and then I'm going to make a very long Big Brother Canada seasons rankings, where I will add up all the categories of each season, then divide it by the amount of categories that exist, and by that final score of all the seasons, that will determine which season will be last, which season will be first, and which will be all in between. Thank you all for watching and following and subscribing. If you want more videos, just look into my catalog, and I'm sure there'll be another video soon. And I have a lot more videos in the works. Thank you all for everything, and take care. Bye!